In sports, power is measured in trophies and contracts, but behind every superstar is someone who shapes their path. Rich Paul started selling vintage jerseys from his car in Cleveland and rose to found Klutch Sports Group, representing athletes with contracts worth billions. No college degree, no family connections, just vision, grit, and strategy. He transformed the sports business and did it entirely on his own terms. This is the story of Rich Paul. Cleveland, humble beginnings. Rich Paul's story didn't start from luxury and the spotlight. Born in Cleveland, Ohio, he grew up in a tough neighborhood where opportunities were limited and every day required hustle. His father, Rich Paul Sr., owned a small convenience store, and that's where Paul learned the essentials of business: how to talk to people, build trust, and create value. Life took a hard turn when his father passed away, when Paul was just 19. With no clear path ahead, he relied on what he knew best: perseverance and hustle. He began selling vintage sports jerseys out of the trunk of his car, traveling across the Midwest with rare pieces from legends like Jordan, Magic, and Bird. Customers remember his passion and authenticity. Every sale was more than a transaction. It was a connection, and though he didn't realize it at the time, this grassroots hustle would lead to the opportunity that changed his life forever. The meeting that changed everything. In 2002, a young LeBron James was already on the rise, but before championships, fame, or a billion-dollar brand, a chance airport encounter would change his life, and Rich Paul's. Rich was walking through the terminal, wearing a rare Warren Moon jersey, the kind only a true collector would own. It immediately caught LeBron's eye. What started as a simple conversation about sports memorabilia quickly revealed something deeper: Rich's knowledge, confidence, and authenticity. He wasn't trying to pitch or impress anyone. He was simply being himself. LeBron bought a few jerseys, but more importantly, they formed a genuine connection. It was the kind of friendship that isn't forced, planned, or manufactured. Neither of them knew it at the time, but that brief encounter would become the first step in one of the most powerful and influential partnerships in sports history, shaping both of their futures forever. Into the business of superstars. As LeBron James's profile rose, Paul became more than just a friend. He became a trusted advisor, someone who understood people, pressure, and loyalty. He joined LeBron's first agent, Leon Rose, at Creative Artist Agency, CAA, where he spent years learning the sports agency business from the inside. He learned how contracts were written, how negotiations were won, how brands were built, and most importantly, how not to treat athletes like commodities. Unlike many agents who saw clients as numbers, Paul believed relationships mattered more than anything. He believed athletes deserved transparency, empowerment, and a say in their own futures. What started as LeBron's friend slowly evolved into something much bigger, a visionary in the making. Klutch Sports, the birth of a super agency. In 2012, Rich Paul made a bold move that changed the sports world forever. After years of learning the business from inside major agencies, he walked away to create something of his own, Klutch Sports Group. It wasn't a massive company with deep pockets or a long client list. It was simply a vision built on loyalty, player empowerment, and genuine relationships. What happened next shocked the industry. LeBron James left CAA to join Rich Paul, instantly turning Klutch from an underdog startup into a legitimate powerhouse. For many athletes, this was a wake-up call. They saw a new kind of agency, one that treated players like partners, not products. Klutch quickly became known for bold negotiations, strong strategy, and giving athletes real control over their careers. And with every new signing, Rich Paul proved that his agency wasn't just surviving, it was setting a new standard in sports representation. Power, pushback, and the rise of player empowerment. With LeBron James at the center, Klutch Sports quickly attracted elite talent, not because of hype, but because Rich Paul offered something the industry rarely provided: true player empowerment. Klutch clients received personal attention, long-term strategy, and honest guidance. Paul wasn't just securing contracts, he was shaping careers. Athletes began taking unprecedented control, choosing teams that matched their vision, building personal brands, and negotiating from positions of strength. Stars like Anthony Davis, Draymond Green, Ben Simmons, Trae Young, and others joined the Klutch family. Their contracts climbed into the hundreds of millions, and together, Klutch athletes generated billions in deals, cementing Paul as one of modern sports' most influential figures. But influence invites resistance. In 2019, the NCAA introduced a rule requiring agents to hold college degrees, a move instantly dubbed the Rich Paul Rule. Critics called it gatekeeping. Athletes spoke out, and Paul penned a bold op-ed exposing its harm to young players. The NCAA reversed the rule. In that moment, Rich Paul didn't just protect athletes, he reshaped the system itself. Beyond sports, business, media, and culture, Rich Paul's rise didn't stop at sports representation. Klutch Sports eventually partnered with United Talent Agency, UTA, where Paul became co-head of UTA's sports division. This further expanded Klutch's reach into entertainment, branding, and media. Paul also launched ventures in production, fashion, and real estate, building a diversified portfolio that placed him among the most influential business minds of his generation. And his life outside business drew global attention as well. His high-profile relationship with international superstar Adele brought him into the pop culture spotlight like never before. Suddenly, Rich Paul wasn't just big in sports, he was big everywhere. As of 2025, his estimated net worth has climbed to around $120 million, with Klutch managing contracts worth billions. Not bad for someone who once sold jerseys out of a car trunk. Vision, values, and the legacy of Rich Paul. What truly separates Rich Paul from traditional agents isn't just his success, it's his philosophy. Ask anyone who has worked with him, and the answers are the same. He listens, he protects, he prepares, and he fights for his clients as if they were family. His entire approach is built around three core principles. Empower the athlete. Give players the knowledge, options, and voice they deserve. Focus on relationships, because real success grows from trust, not numbers. Bet on yourself, because hustle, character, and intelligence often matter more than any degree. This mindset didn't just make Paul effective, it made him a disruptor and a visionary. He became a symbol for young people everywhere who see in him a reflection of what's possible when you refuse to accept the limits placed on you. Today, Rich Paul stands as one of the most influential figures in global sports. His work transformed how agencies operate, how athletes manage their careers, and how the sports business treats player power. Klutch Sports has become the model for a new generation, one where athletes are partners, not products. Rich Paul's journey from Cleveland streets to the peak of sports business isn't just a success story. It's a blueprint of resilience, vision, and rewriting the rules when the rules were never designed for you. Rich Paul's story is far from over. From selling jerseys as a kid to becoming one of the most powerful sports agents in the world, he's proof that greatness isn't just on the court. It's behind the scenes, where vision meets courage. This is Rich Paul, a man who changed the game forever by believing he could. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. The legend continues, and you won't want to miss what's next.